I have an agenda for the presentation. I'm afraid I'm not very good with agendas, so I'll probably go off a tangent. So if I go too far off a tangent, please pull me back. But the purpose of the presentation is to give you some idea of what we call our IV&V process. Now, IV&V is a term which you don't typically find in the commercial marketplace. I'll explain what it means in just a second. It is used very heavily in the government market space. And it is actually a good term. It's a term that means something. I'll get to that in just a second. But I want to talk about how this specifically can be applied to large, off-the-shelf, packaged solution deployments. Now, this works actually just as well with any type of large deployment, but I'm going to talk specifically about packaged solutions because that's the examples I have in the presentation. I want to start by talking about what IV&V is and what should we expect out of it. Then I'm going to talk about why would you go down this path? Why would you spend extra money to do independent validation and verification of what's going on? Talk about what is the history of COTS implementations. Has it been good? Has it been bad? And talk about some of the risks involved in that sort of process. And then talk about the value proposition of IV&V. Why would people bother to spend 5-6% of their budget to go in this direction? I'll spend just a few minutes on methodology, how an IV&V assessment can be put in place. I'm not going to spend an awful lot of time on it for two reasons. One, a lot of the material around the methodology is proprietary information, but two, it would take all night to go through the process, and I want to get out of here in an hour. So, but I'll give you some ideas of the process we go through, which I think is important to understand some of the information we're looking for and how we use that information. And then at the end of it, we'll have a Q&A, and also I have a slide with some takeaways on. They may not be your takeaways, the takeaways that I certainly came up with through this process, but I'd like you to think about takeaways from this. I'd like you to think about, as we go through this process, if there's any areas which you want me to elaborate upon, because I'm going to go fairly quickly through this process. I'll be around afterwards if you want to talk to me, and please, if you want to interrupt me through this process, please feel free to do that too. You might get me back on the agenda if you do that.